Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Department of State Services accuses Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike of plotting to disrupt governance by provoking violence in the nation's capital. Governor Wike dismisses DSS accusations as a false and baseless alarm, accuses the agency of scaremongering and blackmail. Governors of northwest Nigeria states meet in Kaduna, seek mutual approach to reviving agriculture and boosting regional security. And U.S. President-elect Donald Trump advocates United States nuclear arsenal expansion.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria Insurance Commission to commence recapitalization requirements for insurance sector in 2017.
On sports news tonight, Brazil's Chapecoense Football Club receives Copa Sudamericana Winners' Trophy after losing most of their players and staff in a plane crash.
I'm Linda Kibe, and from Abuja, federal government launches digital switchover in Abuja. Federal Capital Territory residents get access to 30 free-to-air television channels.
Begin tonight with the Department of State Services saying it has uncovered a plot by the River State Governor Nyesom Wike to disrupt governance by provoking a violent breach of peace in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The DSS spokesman, Tony Opuyo, says the allegations leveled against the governor include an attempt to employ the services of some rights groups, a personal aide of the senator, and political thugs to storm the offices of the National Human Rights Commission, the Independent National Electoral Commission, the National Assembly, the Nigerian Army and police headquarters, as well as the British and U.S. embassies. The DSS claims this is in a bid to create an impression that there were security lapses during the elections in Rivers State. The DSS further states that any attempt by anyone to create an atmosphere of insecurity will be met with the full wrath of the law. Meanwhile, the Rivers State government has described the DSS reports as false and a baseless alarm. The Commissioner for Information in the state, Austin Tam George, claims the DSS reports is an attempt by the agency to blackmail Governor Wike and bring the state government into disrepute. The Rivers State government also asked the DSS to focus its attention on cases of insurgency in the northeast, where terror attacks have displaced over 1 million Nigerians in 6 years. Staying with security matters, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has constituted a 15-man panel to unravel those behind the violence recorded during the rerun legislative election in Rivers State. The committee, to be headed by a Deputy Commissioner of Police, Damian Okoro, has been given 30 days to submit its report. Mr. Idris gave an assurance that the police will deploy its resources to ensure the perpetrators are brought to book.
Which is to conduct investigation in conjunction with a team from the Department of DSS, has the following terms of reference. 1. Conduct a thorough investigation into the role of security agents before, during, and after the elections. 2. Examine the role of any police officer or any other security agent whose actions or activities, individually and collectively, was detrimental to the good conduct of the election. 3. Conduct a forensic analysis on the audio report released by Sahara reporters as it concerns the election. 4. Examine any other matter that is relevant to the conduct of that election. 5. Make recommendations and implementation strategies to guide future elections and submit findings within 30 days with effect from 17th December 2016.
Going up north now, governors of states in the northwest zone have met in Kaduna to discuss issues affecting the region. The meeting was held behind closed doors at the Kaduna State Government House and had in attendance the governors of Kebbi, Katsina, Zamfara and Sokoto states, as well as the deputy governors of Kaduna and Kano states. Briefing journalists at the end of the meeting, Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State says the meeting focused on how to revive agriculture as a way of boosting revenue generation. He adds that the governors also praised the ongoing war against cattle rustlers and armed bandits in the region.
Economic integration of northwestern states. So that's what the meeting is all about. Well, we discussed about the issue of taking advantage of the policies of the federal government in the area of agriculture in particular. And the states are mobilized towards taking full advantage of the program by the federal government. I think if the cattle rustling has been really reduced to the barest minimum now, and they were working together with the law enforcement agencies to make sure that the issue of cattle rustling is addressed once and for all.
The Nigerian military appears is not resting on its laurels despite the successes recorded so far in the fight against terror in the northeast. As part of ongoing efforts at boosting the capacity of troops, 206 officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force have concluded counterinsurgency operations field training conducted by the United Kingdom military. The 4-week exercise was held at the Air Force Regiment Training Center in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria.
This is the reenactment of what happens on the war front, where soldiers put their lives at risk to protect their country. The 4-week training is for 206 Nigerian Air Force personnel by a team from the United Kingdom. Comprising fast roping, which is a helicopter drop demonstration, marksmanship, camouflage and concealment, fitness exercises, and evacuation of the wounded.
They were taught how to react to direct and indirect fire, how to deal with improvised explosive devices, how to locate intruders, how to conduct post-attack recovery, and how to screen and search people and vehicles, and how to build and, more importantly, fight out of defensive positions.
The representative of the Chief of Air Staff is impressed with the outcome of the program.
We can confidently say that our goals and set objectives are being achieved. So what we have witnessed today is a sure demonstration and testimony that the products of this center have been adequately prepared for deployment to any of the operational theaters across the country.
The certificates are handed to the soldiers, but what they should have at the back of their minds is that what they have learned today may be what will save their lives on the battlefront tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the drive made by the Nigerian army in its ongoing final push to rid the Sambisa forest of Boko Haram terrorists might be making progress, but there is a downside. Reports from the Office of the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Usman, has it that a number of the terrorists are fleeing the northeast to various parts of the country. To this end, the army is calling on residents of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states to be security conscious and not hesitate to report any suspicious persons or group to the appropriate security agencies. An initiative tagged Infrastructure for Peace has been launched by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in Abuja. The Director General of the Institute, Professor Oshita, says the program will help in the coordination and empowerment of peace management organizations in the country. He adds that the program is also expected to strengthen the process of conflict resolution.
For some years now, Nigerians have had to contend with the activities of Boko Haram in the northeast, youth militancy in the south-south, and farmers and herdsmen clashes in many parts of the country. Besides the loss of lives and property, many have fled the affected areas. How to garner support from institutions charged with the responsibility of sustaining peace is what has informed this gathering, as experts seek ways to achieve socio-economic development through peace and conflict resolution.
Though intangible, peace is priceless, and we do not appreciate it until we lose it.
While the launch of the new peace-building initiative is a welcome development, many are of the opinion that the role of individuals in sustaining peace cannot be overemphasized.
I'm using this opportunity of the unveiling of the I4P program to call on lovers of peace and relevant stakeholders to support the Institute in achieving the goals of the program that has so much promises on bringing the desired peace in our communities.
A lawmaker, Sani Zoro, however, shares a different opinion in the nation's bid to achieve peace. He says peace-building institutions must be well-funded to achieve their mandates.
The resources being committed to such an institute is far, far, far too low from the mandate that it is expected to discharge.
The launch of the Infrastructure for Peace program is aimed at building partnership with peace management organizations towards entrenching peace in all parts of the country.
In the meantime, the National Commandant of the Peace Corps of Nigeria, Ambassador Dixon Akko, says time has come for youth empowerment to be prioritized by federal and state authorities. The Peace Corps also called on the President to assent to the Peace Corps bill to empower youths across the country. Ambassador Akko said this at the Corps' end-of-year gala and awards ceremony in Abuja.
Youths sing and dance, celebrating a movement for peace, boasting a membership of hundreds of thousands of youths across the country. The Peace Corps of Nigeria celebrates a year in which the National Assembly passed the Peace Corps Bill for presidential assent.
Any effort by any group or any individual to engage these youths that we left behind would be a welcome idea by the National Assembly.
The National Commandant of the Peace Corps of Nigeria, Ambassador Dixon Akko, emphasized that when President Muhammadu Buhari assents to the Peace Corps bill, he would have distinguished himself as the most youth-friendly president in Nigeria's history.
Rather than exuding apprehension at this call, we lost focus after the takeover by the government. I wish to assure all and sundry, including the media, that this organization will not deviate from its original ideas and underlying philosophy for which it was established by its founding fathers.
The Peace Corps Act houses the Peace Corps of Nigeria under the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development.
The youth have surrendered their responsibility of being the conscience of the nation to we politicians. The politicians dictate the content of the leadership of the youth councils. The politicians dictate the content of the leadership of our student unions.
A night that was a showcase of youthful energy and persistence personified would combine with the vigorous appeals of a deprived youth to call for further presidential action on a new measure that will satiate millions of disengaged and disenchanted Nigerian youths. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, more on the federal government's promise to reward whistleblowers on economic and financial crimes. We'll be joined by legal practitioner Joshua Logo. Please stay with us.